So, Madison Wilson, welcome to Israel.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Let me introduce you to our viewers. Four-time Olympic medalist, 2 gold medals, one in Tokyo and one in Rio in the 4x100
Freestyle, yes.
with Australian women.
Yeah.
And then bronze in Tokyo in the 4x2.
Yes.
And a silver in Tokyo in the 4x1 medley.
Medley, correct, yeah.
And you did what? You swam in the morning or?
Swam in the morning of the 4x1 medley and the 4x1 freestyle. Really.
Okay, so I told you that I looked you up.
Yeah.
And I think that adding your times in the 100 freestyle, in the 100 backstroke, you're the fastest woman in the world ever to swim on a combination on the stomach and on the back. Because together you have a 52.76
yeah,
in the freestyle and 58.75 in the backstroke.
Yeah.
So that makes it 151 mid. I think that's the fastest woman ever to do both sides.
I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to know. I would have never have known that unless you had told me. But yeah, it's not really something I think about. Yeah.
It is something to think about. We don't think about it, but you know, you've been swimming for a while. You've started in. When did you break through in swimming come? At what age would you say?
I started swimming, learn to swim as a child. In Australia, it's very common to be put into learn to swim, beaches and pools everywhere, and it's just part of our culture to do learn to swim at 4 or 5 months old. And I kind of just progressed from there. I started doing competitions when I was 5, 6 years old in the under 6s. I swam well through primary school and did school sport, and then in high school I started making junior Australian teams, and I went to junior Pan Packs and represented Australia a few times as a junior. And then as soon as I finished school, I made the senior Australian team in 2014, which was the Commonwealth Games, so a big thing for Australians. And then from then on, I've just continued to make the team pretty much every year other than 2018. I've been on the Australian swim team. And so my progression through the sport has just been slow and steady. There wasn't a time in my life where swimming hadn't been a part of my life. I've always swum and always enjoyed it, and just to like get the benefits and the rewards that I have is amazing because I have put so much of my life into the sport.
You know, you swim the events in Australia for Australian women. Come on, 100 freestyle. The 2 women that beat you at trials are gold and bronze medalists.
Yeah.
So you could be like, it's just the fastest women ever, and then except maybe one, and then backstroke, same story. You know, there's Kaylee, and there is Emily Seabohm, and then Mina Atlet. All this just completely packed, stacked, faster than any other country in the world in these 2 events by far, by a distance. Like if there was a relay, a freestyle relay, of course you have the world record. And if it was a backstroke relay, you would have it also.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Australia is, especially the women at the moment, is just amazing. It's actually, people think, you know, going into Olympics, I was ranked 3rd in the world, but obviously didn't get a swim because I was also 3rd in Australia. And that's just how it is, but I wouldn't trade it for anything because being a part of the Australian relay team and a part of what we do and what we're known as is special in a different way. So I'm just happy to be there and to be doing it. I think I'm so proud to be an Australian female swimmer at the moment because we are held very high in the world and people know that we can do amazing things. So yeah, I'm happy that I swim the events that I do at this time when swimming is so amazing for Australian women.
You know, relay swimming, we started, we always know about relay swimming, but you know, the lights switched on with in 2008 with Jason Lezak, and suddenly we understood, the whole world understood that this isn't just any form, maybe even in 2000 in Sydney with the guys, Australian men, it's not just another swim, it's very, very intense and packed, and I don't know if it's stressful because the adrenaline works, right? Better than the personal swim, the adrenaline works, but how do you feel, or what is the anticipation before a relay or before a personal swim? What's the difference? Is there any difference? Because you swam in the Olympics the 200 and you finaled in the 200 freestyle.
Yeah. So I find Australia is a very passionate country and loves swimming, and something about relays for the Australian community is so important to them. So when I'm racing in a relay, and our title as a relay team is Australia. It's not Madison Wilson, it's not any other name, it's Australia. So I think something about that makes it so much more special for everyone who's watching at home. So I get a lot more nervous for relays because I feel a lot of pressure from the country. Well, not pressure, but I really want to do well for my country, and also for the other girls who are in the team as well. But also the main reason, or one of the main reasons I transitioned from being on my back to on my front, was because the feeling of being a part of a relay team is so addictive. Being out there and being able to celebrate with your teammates is so exciting, and it's something I want to do for the rest of my career, and I knew that after 2016. So yeah, I guess it's just such a special feeling being in a relay team, and it's something that makes me so excited, and that's what keeps me in the sport for sure.
You know, there's something about a relay that you know that somebody's waiting for you. You better hurry up, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I in 2016, I qualified individually for the backstroke, and I didn't even swim the freestyle at trials. It was never an option for me to be a part of the relay teams, and then I was swimming okay in a few meets leading into the Olympics, and the coach of the 4x1 said to me that I would have a heat swim, which I didn't realize what it meant at the time because I'd never been on a relay team. So I guess when I did the swim and realized what it meant, I was like, I want to do this like for the rest of my career because it's insane and it's so much fun.
And you have like Kate Campbell like captaining that relay for a while now.
Yeah.
She's just become an unbelievable relay swimmer. You know, there's a difference to what she does personally, let's say in the Olympics, and what she does in relays. It's not a minor difference, it's a big difference, I think.
Yeah, I think Kate is an amazing leader, and it doesn't matter what's going on in her life or in her swimming or in anything, she will lift for a team. The same as any of the girls on the team, they will always lift because it's for other people as well, it's not just for yourself. So you take off all the pressure you need on yourself and you accept what you're about to do is for other people as well and for everyone back home. So yeah, it's amazing.
So you say you transitioned from your back to your front. That was when? 2000, because in Kazan you took a medal in the World Championships in the 200? 100 backstroke, yeah. Right. 58.7, that was that.
Yeah.
And when did you make the transition? When did you decide, like, what do you do now? You just train freestyle or a bit of both?
Yeah, so in 2016, like I said, I did the relay, which was unexpected, and I really enjoyed it. And then a little part of me knew that I wanted to do both. So I went into doing training half and half. So I would train half backstroke and half freestyle, and my freestyle was succeeding and increasing a lot, like very quickly, and my backstroke was kind of staying similar, and I just really enjoyed that feeling that I was getting of learning how to, I mean, after such a long time in the sport, something was exciting about learning how to race a race plan again and breathing patterns, and it just made me excited as I moved forward and as I progressed, and I got confidence from that, and that's how I kind of transitioned into freestyle. And then in 2017 I only made the team, so I shouldn't say only, I made the team for the freestyle relays, and then in 2018 I missed the team completely, the Australian team, which was such a shock for me because I had done most things in my career up until that point except for something at home, which was, I was really passionate about doing something in Australia. We had Commonwealth Games in Australia that year, and I missed that team, which was devastating to me. I really struggled through that year and not having an identity with swimming. So I decided to make a change, and I moved states quite far away from where my family is and what I was used to, and I worked with my coach who I have now, and we've created something so unbelievably special.
Which is the coach? Is
Peter Bishop.
Peter Bishop.
And I swim in the...
Coaching Kyle Chalmers and those...
Yeah, so we have a really good group now.
In Adelaide, in South Australia, which
in
is
South Australia.
never, or not in a long time, been a spot for swimming in Australia, just recently.
It's not, so like you said, like it's not huge swimming, but we have now Matt Temple, who is butterflyer and relay swimmer, bronze medal at the Olympics. Kyle, obviously, most people know, second at the Olympics, gold at Olympics in 2016. We have Meg Harris, also my relay partner in the 4x1 and the 4x2. We have another guy, Travis Marnie. He is 2016 Olympian. Myself, so it's slowly creating a bigger group, and what we have in South Australia is incredible, and I tell people all around the world what we have, and people can't believe the way that we train and the technology and what we have access to is incredible, and it just shows that anyone who comes to try it it falls in love with it and falls in love with the sport again, because yeah, we're very lucky.
So you have this versatility, you go backstroke, you say, oh, wait, I'm not progressing, so I go to freestyle. What's next, butterfly?
No, I don't want anyone to see me try and do butterfly at all. It would be so embarrassing, but I'm still learning so much about freestyle because I started to do it so late in my career. I'm still learning how to race, especially the 200 the right way, or the right way that my coach wants me to race it, and the right way to breathe during a race, and start and finish and all those things. So while I still have this burning desire to improve and to get these things right, I think freestyle is where my heart is right now.
So do you feel like you're progressing? Because I don't know, of course the freestyle time this year was your fastest, but it's not like every meet, but I feel the consistency, like you came to World Cup now. I'm not talking about ISL, that's not finished, but the last two World Cups, and you cleaned up $5,500 in each one, $11,000, and the speed is, you told me, maybe not so much short course, but you're swimming quick.
Yeah, I mean...
More consistent, maybe.
Yeah, I think, like, World Cups was a shock to me because I had COVID and I was out completely. I was in hospital and I was on my bed for...
Wait. We need to talk about this. When did you have COVID? You were... After 2 vaccinations, right?
Yeah, so I was vaccinated in June with the Olympic team. I went to Tokyo, I did all of
the Australian Olympic team was vaccinated in June?
Yes, June.
So just...
Our second vaccination.
About 8 weeks or even 6 weeks before Olympics, you took a chance and vaccinated the whole team?
Yeah.
And there was no long COVID, no effects, everybody was fine?
Everyone was good.
Okay,
yeah.
And then you come to Italy for ISL?
Yes.
Which is around September?
Yep.
You got COVID?
Yeah, so I did the first 3 matches over probably 3 weeks, and then tested positive for COVID just before our 4th match, which was the last match. I have some issues with asthma and a few other like lung and chest issues, so my oxygen wasn't good when I tested positive and I had to go into hospital.
In Italy, Napoli?
Yes, yeah, in Naples. So that was a crazy experience, and one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is go into a foreign country hospital where no one spoke English, and I was very scared. My oxygen wasn't right, and it was just the most crazy experience. But I was there for 5 days in hospital, and then
Did you feel bad, or was it just felt?
Just the hardest symptom for me when I had COVID was the breathing, just the burn in your chest, and like it's just hard. Like it takes a lot of energy to breathe, and it's just very fatiguing, and the coughing. So yeah, it's just like not a good time. But I recovered quickly.
And now you're swimming like. So you say the World Cup, which came after COVID, was a surprise because of COVID?
Yes, because I had to lay on my bed. When I finished the hospital, I went into a hotel room and I had to lay on my bed. I couldn't do anything, and I got out, and 24 hours later, out of the quarantine, 24 hours later I flew to Berlin, and I swam. My first race was the 50 freestyle, and I did a personal best time in the heat, and I didn't I didn't know what to say. I was so shocked. I just laid on my bed for 2 weeks straight.
And did the best 53 freestyle.
In the heat, and then I came back and went faster in the final, and I told myself after the first day of World Cup, I said, don't...
Maybe you were lighter.
Yeah, I said, don't give yourself false expectations. You've got the 100 and the 200 coming up, and I knew they were going to be harder, especially on my lungs. I was still struggling a little bit with breathing. In the 50, I think I breathed 4 times, which is not... I mean, most people are breathing once or no times in a 50. And then I raced the 100 and the 200, and the times were fine. They were tiny bit off what I was swimming at ISL, and then I guess, yeah, I guess the mind was so much more powerful than what I gave.
It's a COVID taper.
Yeah, I think my body was feeling a lot fresher than what it's probably used to. I usually am under quite a bit of work. I don't taper very much because of the way my body is, so I guess it was just feeling fresh, and it was fine. And I mean, I was so shocked because obviously as an athlete and as a person, and you hear about COVID, and I was stressed that I wouldn't be able, like I would have long-term symptoms, especially because I'm asthmatic with it, but I feel like now it's okay. And I knew Tom Dean had COVID twice before he won at Olympics and did so well.
The British 200-meter champion.
Yes, so I in my head I was like, he can do it, I can do it. But it's still in the back of your head, you are thinking, what's going to happen to me in this sport? What sort of long-term symptoms am I going to have from this? But I'm happy with how
you
everything
won't have long-term.
Yeah, I mean, I'm vaccinated, and I truly believe the vaccination protected me and made me heal much faster than what I would have.
So, we spoke about this earlier. You've been outside of Australia since June. Or July. Yeah,
so in June we finished our trials. Because of the way Australia is, we had to leave our state straight away after the trials. June 18th when I got the vaccination, and then went to Cairns, the very top of Australia. We didn't have to stage anywhere else because it's the same time zone, Japan and Australia. So
you think that was an advantage for the team? That it's the same time zone? I was sure. I talked to people, I said, before the games, Australia will be better in these games because they don't have to adjust.
I think so. It's always so hard to travel so far, I think, and as a country we do a good job of it, but I think this was so close to home that it was just, we were just, yeah, I think it was such a big advantage for us, for sure.
Okay, so since June you're what? You're globetrotting, swimming. It's like, you know, it's like the life of a professional swimmer. You know, you go to Japan for Olympics, you go to Italy to ISL, Germany for World Cup, Budapest or Hungary for World Cup, and then to Israel.
Yeah.
What does it feel? Is this a new experience for you?
It's crazy to me. I have always been in this stigma that I had to be at home training, and that was my job, was to be at home training, and then I would leave and I would compete at the major competition, and then I would go back home and I would train. And then this year, after an Olympic cycle, my coach said to me, I want you to go and travel and have fun and take the reins off.
I like him already.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he contacts me every day, and Kyle, but he's just asking how we are as people, not telling us what to do or what not to do. And I think that's like the best possible thing I can do right now for longevity in the sport. I'm 27, so if I went back home and got back into training, I'm not sure mentally it would be a great thing for me to do. And I've had the most amazing experience in this half of the year that it makes me want to do more, you know, just keep being in the sport and keep doing it. I want to come back next year. I've already been invited back to Israel next year, and like, just, I guess, I don't know, just like you just want to keep doing it when it's exciting and fun and you're getting the rewards from it. So yeah.
It's you know, you can live off it, you know, you make some money. It's a livelihood almost, like
exactly.
You can do it. It's like Australians go traveling into Europe. You know, we know this for a year, half a year, 2 years, and I guess this is the swimmer version of traveling Europe.
Exactly, it's been the most amazing experience, and I have dreamt about doing the FINA World Cups since 2016. I always knew after this Olympics that was my plan. It was to do all the World Cups, didn't matter. And I was just lucky that ISL also fell into this half of this year as well. So it just like couldn't be more perfect timing for me to travel and swim, which I love to do, and also earn money.
So other Australians are probably in other places in Europe, like Emma, if you didn't go back, Emma McKeown and Kyle Chalmers, and you're in Israel. Why Israel?
I'm here because of a Israeli swimmer, Anastasia Gorbenko. She...
Our own European 200 IM champion.
Yes, an amazing, amazing athlete and person, especially outside of the pool. Invited me, and I love her, and she and I were training together at the ISL.
You were on the same team?
Yeah, we're in the same team, and we were also just the two of us in the same training group, and we just trained so well together. She has a fierce mindset, and she is unbelievably dedicated and training so well, and I pride myself on being a good trainer as well, and we were able to push each other very well. So when she invited me, it made sense to me. I knew in this short block that I had between the World Cups that I needed to make a few progressions, especially in this week. Yeah, and I knew that she was going to be the right person for me to do it with. So when she invited me, I was like, absolutely, and I mean, I'm so glad that I'm here. So.
This is a strange situation because our national pool is now, there's the World Water Polo World Championships for women under 20. So it's off limits to you guys, and you're training in the club pool here in the north of Israel.
Which is even more special for me because...
Kiryat Bialik, the 25-meter pool of Kiryat Bialik, which is like a home, a breeding ground for swimmers in Israel.
Exactly, which is why it's so special for me. I've been to the most amazing facilities, and I train in the most amazing facilities, and I've been to all these places, and then I come here and I see where Nastia swam as a little tiny girl with her coaches that are there and the family and the community that she has, and it makes it even more special because I remember me being that small little girl in my tiny little community with, you know, I'm from a country town in Australia, so it's a small community and everyone knows you and everyone supports you, so it's actually even more special for me to be in this club pool and to be training with the tiny little Israeli swimmers in the lane next to me. And I just sat there at the training pool yesterday for 15 minutes watching them dive into the pool. It was the cutest little dives I'd ever seen, and just to see how passionate her coach is, who is coaching these tiny little swimmers. Yes, and she was correcting them, and these are the swimmers who are going to turn into what Nastia is now, so it's
you
amazing.
Know, when you talk about this, do you think that when you become a mature professional swimmer, you lose that touch with the community a little bit? Because you swim in your own pools, you have 2-3 guys or even less in the lane, and the coach is looking at you, and you think you miss it a little bit?
I think I always remember like what I grew up doing. I mean, it's such a big part of your life, but you're so spoiled, especially in Australia as a high performance athlete. Like you said, I train with 1 person or 2 person in lane. I have every technology that I need. So I guess, yeah, to take a step back and remember that, it makes you so grateful for your family and my parents for sticking it out and doing what they did, especially in the community, because without that, none of us would be anything.
Let's ask about the training, okay? You swim 50, you swim 200. That's a range. How does the training go? You sprint training, long sprint training? I know there's a few of you over there. Kyle does it, and many swimmers do it, but I want to understand how you do it, you know, for a woman.
So my coach is incredible at finding a way that someone needs to train to get the best out of themselves. So Kyle and I both race the 50 through to the 200, but he all train completely different. We do not train the same way at all. As a female, I train over distance. I train a lot further than, I guess, what a sprint male would. I do a lot more kilometers.
How many a week would you say?
A week? I do, my average is 6K a session, so
okay.
6 times 9, I guess.
9 sessions a week, 6 times 9. Huh?
Yeah, so
that's about 50.
yeah, so I mean it's not like an open water swimmer, it's a lot for a sprinter. But I don't come down for a taper either. I stay relatively high the whole time. I am not a hugely muscular person, so I don't need a lot of rest. My body recovers very quickly. I don't need lots of recovery days in a week. And my coach has just managed to find the perfect way for me to train, and that's a lot of over distance training, lots of 800s, 400s, which is, more than what probably a lot of people who race the 100 and 200 need. As a child, I did a lot of kilometers, so because now I'm older, I also need to keep that system running that I created when I was young. And then a really important thing since I moved in 2018 to Adelaide is strength, which is something I never really worked on specifically. And it's been the biggest thing for me is chin-ups is so important to my coach. It's massive for him, and the translation I get from chin-ups into the water is massive. And I mean, most Australian females are doing a lot of chin-ups. It's important, and I didn't used to be able to do one. Now I can do 3 at 27.5 kilos, or I can do 36 in a row, body weight.
Wow.
It's just a lot of focus and a lot of time went into that. Chin-ups, just into chin-ups. And I think that's been the biggest transfer from strength into water. And that's been one of the biggest things for my speed and just my hold on the water. When I moved to my coach in 2018.
You feel you grab the water better because of the chin-ups?
Oh yeah.
Maybe I should start. I used to a long time ago. Maybe it's time to.
For sure. I believe chin-ups have helped me more than anything.
Really?
Chin-ups has been the biggest thing for me. It's all round shoulder, bicep, tricep, lats. It's everything that you need.
And you say you do a lot of distance. What about quality? Is there a lot of quality work in that?
Yeah, I do a lot. We do a lot of quality. It depends where we are in the year. We do a big block at the beginning of the year that's not as high intensity, but lots of kilometers. And then as we get closer to our trials, it's a lot more intense and a lot more quality and less kilometers. And yeah.
Maybe this is a rude question, but Australians, we have the Americans have the collegiate system, and how do they make a living? The professional or the mature swimmers, the Australian institutes pay, the government, or Swimming Australia. How does it work in Australia? We don't know.
So Australia, swimming is a huge sport in Australia. The community loves it. It's massive, and it's backed by the government. So we have direct athlete support through our government, through donations from people in Australia, also sponsors.
Sponsorships, businesses.
Sponsors are massive also because people love to watch the sport. Swimmers in Australia are known. When you walk down the street as an athlete, I'm not sure it's the same in America because they have
no, it's not the same.
NRL, they have NFL and that sort of thing, so bigger sports. So in Australia, it's people want swimmers as athletes to represent their brands, so yeah, it's pretty much how.
Okay, so that's sorted. You say you're 27, and you've been getting faster. What are your goals forget for a second the medals, but we're swimmers, you know, we talk about results. Do you have any result goals, or just to get faster, you think in what event, in the 50, the 100, the 200, you think about that after Olympics, or you're just waiting to see how it goes?
I mean, I definitely will sit down and redo my long course goals again, and I achieved the goals that I wanted to this year, so I will sit down and rewrite my goals. I think time-wise, I don't have like a specific limit on myself, because there's so many things in a race that I'm not doing yet that I want to be able to do.
Example?
There's in a 200 freestyle, I want to be coming home in a 58 low, which I'm not quite there yet. Eventually want to come home in a 57. So little things like that. It's the same as the 100. I want to be coming home under 27 seconds. So it's just like small little adjustments I have to make. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, just seeing like if I can achieve that and be able to do that.
We talked about short course and the kicking. You say Australians have a deficit compared to Americans, or maybe the rest of the world has a deficit compared to Americans on the water?
Yeah, I think everyone, because we don't race a college system, isn't as connected underwater maybe as what the Americans are.
And you feel it's a disadvantage for you?
Not necessarily, because I don't believe that me swimming on top of the water is slower than someone else swimming under the water. I've been next to many people, even just at the last World Cup, where I saw someone underwater next to me. I just think that I definitely am faster on top of the water than what I am under, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time under the water unless I decide to go back and work on that as a specific thing that I want to improve. But like long course is more my favorite thing to do, so I guess I'm not like that. It's not a massive important thing for me to go and spend a lot of time underwater. Yeah.
Okay. So I know it's late and you're probably tired. What do we wish for you for the coming year? To come back to Israel?
For sure, I am going to come back to Israel. I am not sure about World Championships just yet next year. I'm going to take a bit of a break after this, and then we have our Commonwealth Games next year, which is something that's really important to me. And I want to come back and do all the World Cups again next year. So I guess that's like where my focus is right now.
And then you're looking onward to Paris, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, which I would have never said before this Olympics that I would go one more, but I want to. I'm improving, and I feel like why would I not want to go for
this? Is now this is a question which I think could be of global importance. You think this ISL and World Cup is motivating you to continue because you have these opportunities to swim, to travel?
I think so, because you can improve so much through racing. So it doesn't mean that after I finish a World Championships or a Commonwealth Games, I have to go back and just put in that hard, long stint of training. I can do something like this, which is exciting. I get to meet people, I get to travel, I get to earn money, and it's probably just as beneficial, if not more beneficial, for me than going back and training. It's definitely going to be a huge block that I do have to put in when I get back next year. January, February, March will be massive for me, and it'll be long, but it doesn't matter because I've had this excitement. I feel ready to go back and do that.
Refreshed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, Maddy Wilson, it's been a huge pleasure, really, and thanks for coming, and thanks for being in Israel, and we look forward to seeing you again, maybe swim with us in the sea. We swim in the sea, I told you a lot.
For sure, it looks so beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.